Dan Sodergren is a digital marketing and tech expert. He launched a course that teaches people how to use AI in their marketing. Hi, Dan. How would you rate the success of this summit? What, if anything, has been achieved?
Well, that's a really good question. I do talks about the future of work and AI and things, and yeah, it's going to be. I think there was 28 countries that have all signed up, and that's a great thing. It's a world first, and so it's a great PR opportunity for the Prime Minister, and also to position Britain as well. But I'm really interested to find out what the richest man in the world and one of the richest MPs ever are going to talk about. My guess is it's not going to be the cost of living crisis. So yeah. nor is it going to be about job security. They obviously have some pretty secure jobs. So it's quite interesting to see, is it around Rishi kind of pitching for new work after he's the Prime Minister? Because you're not in politics forever. But also, is it about trying to make Elon Musk look a little bit nicer? I think some of the things they'll talk about is that it will be fascinating. Will Elon calls for a pause in AI, which would be interesting, as he famously signed that document saying we should pause AI. But at the same time, of course, he bought a load of computer chips so he could make his own supercomputer. Because we've got to remember that a lot of his other companies, people forget about Tesla and things because he owns X. Tesla, of course, is a massive artificial intelligence play. Neuralink is like artificial intelligence on steroids. It's literally microchips that you put in the back of people's brains. So, yeah, it'd be fascinating to see what these amazingly powerful people will say over a live stream.
And why do you think Rishi Sunak wants to do it? It strikes me as quite a risky thing to do.
Well, I think without being too rude to the present government, they've got to do something, and they've got to be seen to be doing something positive. This is quite a clever play by them. It'd be fascinating to see from the world stage exactly how everyone else takes it, because we're not really in a position to be telling the world what to do. China's most probably 5 years ahead of us with AI applications, certainly in government. So it'd be interesting to see. I think Rishi's point is, it's an amazing opportunity, but actually what governments need to be looking at is if AI helps people become 40% more productive, and as you talked about the AI marketing course, it actually helps marketers become 400% more productive using AI, that's a huge thing about the job market, isn't it? Like, we might not need as many people in those jobs, and actually the government needs to be not thinking about the existential crisis of will it be like nuclear weapons, etc., and who should we stop using this? There's a bigger point about what do we do as society when we're all starting to use AI, and actually we don't need so many people in these different jobs. And I think that's most probably the bit they're not going to talk about, sadly.
And as you were saying, the UK is trying to position itself as a big player in influencing the way AI is developed and regulated in the future. But, is that realistic, given that, as you were alluding to there, lots of the sort of real work in terms of development of this is happening elsewhere in the US and China?
Well, absolutely. The things, you could argue that Elon Musk bought Twitter because of the data it gets, and it would help him create his own AI machines. You've got to remember, he was also involved in OpenAI and other things before, and these are now the front-running companies. Now, we've got people like Demis Hablis and other people that have had amazing companies that have been bought up by Google. So we've got an amazing amount of tech talent in AI, yes. But are we really in the position? Well, if you look at what the Biden administration just did over in America, it looks much more like America's leading the way now in AI safety. It'd be interesting to see if they did that because we decided to make the world first summit, and then they decided to come up with some policies before we could. But I think America is much more likely to be in a position to influence things. However, I will applaud the fact that Rishi also invited China, because I think that's a very sensible thing to do. Because, of course, this AI issue is a global one. It's not just Western democracies that need to think about it.
So, Dan, you'll be glued to your X feed later, waiting for this interview to land.
Or what I'll do is I'll actually get my artificial intelligence, because having artificial intelligence, like having an intern, I'll get that to listen to it and then give me the notes. That's the honest truth. That's what I'll do. I'll give me the summary, exactly. Save my time.
Well, thank you ever so much for running through all of that with us this evening. That's Dan Sodergren, who's a digital marketing and tech expert. And we're expecting that interview between Elon Musk and Rishi Sunak around 9 o'clock this evening.